Hello and welcome to the post-match reaction to the Hurricanes versus the Highlanders, and my shocking season of predictions continues yet again. Another $3 down the drain for me. And joining me to have a chat about it all, I've got Austin. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. You're having a shocker, mate.
I am.
I think you should give up on rugby.
Give up on rugby? Maybe. Maybe. Well, wait, folks. Do you like my new shelving unit over here on the side? There, got my rugby books up and on display.
And if you would like one, make sure you DM Paul to order yours now.
Oh, if only I had a book to sell. That takes work and stuff, and yeah, don't want to be doing that. Anyway, thank everyone who's joining us. We'll be live straight after the women's Blues versus Chiefs game and the men's Blues versus Chiefs game tomorrow as well. So do join us for that as well. But this one kicked off, and geez, how long does it take for those guys to set a scrum? That's the first 2 minutes was them trying to negotiate how the hell they actually come together. Just farcical at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you want to see how a scrum gets put down, you go back to the '87 World Cup finals. You know, you'll find footage of it. It's probably the easiest one. There'll be others as well out there, and go see how quickly a scrum used to get put down in 1987.
Yep, absolutely.
And pushing.
There we go. At the end of it, what did we end up with? We ended up with a penalty, and the Highlanders taking the lead 3-0 to kick us off. The Canes then, initially the pass missed the players and bounced around the ground, but on the right-hand side, a couple of weak shoulders by the Highlanders, and boy, the Canes made them pay. And that was going to be a bit of a theme through this, wasn't it? In the second half, again, we saw some weak shoulders by the Highlanders, a few tackles broken that really shouldn't have been, and whilst in the first half the Canes didn't really make hay, they did in the second.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the scoreline reflects what you're talking about, and you really did see that, particularly as you say in that first try, set the scene, set the night for the Highlanders in terms of getting those shoulders on, and really, the Hurricanes team, although I think even with that win, still ended up finishing bottom of the table, or did they actually manage to squeak into fourth?
No, they still finished bottom of the table.
Finished bottom of the table, yeah. But I think if you go back and have a highlights reel of the tries, a lot of Hurricanes tries would make it into the highlights reel because they've actually scored a lot of good what we'll call team tries, where they've thrown it around and scored some spectacular tries. And their first try of the night would be one for the highlights reel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, there were some weak shoulders, but there were also good offloads and good awareness of where the support players were. Which allowed it to happen.
Good awareness of where the support players are, but obviously you have to give ticks to the Hurricanes because the support players got there to be a support player. If you know what I mean, we can talk about how like the Highlanders actually had a few times where they made breaks, but the support player wasn't close enough to actually carry the momentum forward.
But whilst you say that ended up being the story of the game in some ways, it didn't feel like it in that first half. We had Love charge down. He got very lucky with the ball going out the back. That easily could have been a try. Hunt puts it dead. And I was a bit surprised that the Canes then chose a 22 dropout and not a scrum. I think that probably showed you what Dane Coles thought of his scrummaging ability, or his team's scrummaging ability, I should say.
Yeah, that was, when they were, wow. Well, here's the interesting thing, right? So, as you say, there was a kick that the Highlanders put dead. It was probably about 30 meters out, sort of roughly, and they go option as the 22 dropout, as you say, highlighting how weak that Hurricane scrum is. And but then we go further down the field and they get a penalty, which is on the 22 or just inside the 22, and they actually went for the scrum option. So, yeah, bit confusing to be honest.
And look, the Hurricanes in that first half took some real strange decisions. Options, yep. Little grubbers through, and Laumapi with a cross-field kick from about the 15 to the 5 dash line
Yeah.
on the same side.
Well, you can
I
see what
think-
he was trying to do. His execution was off the side of the boot, and so it went backwards or effectively instead of going to the in-goal area. But it's like, dude, you don't look comfortable trying to do that little Geordie
little
or
big bugger.
Bowden Barrett kick across field.
Yeah, there was just two. Yeah, I even tweeted out saying I think the Canes are on a bonus if they score from kicks rather than from passing. So yeah, like it was a strange one. And the Canes left a whole bunch of points out there in the first half. Maybe that's like 6 or 7 clean breaks in that first half, and only finished off a couple of them.
But
Really,
interesting stat that popped up towards the end of that first half. Although it felt like the Canes were making lots of breaks, etc. But the time of the 22 was actually fairly even. There was only like about 6 seconds difference. This was like with about 30 minutes gone in the game. They showed a stat with time in 22, and there's only about a 6 second difference between what the Hurricanes had spent and the Highlanders had spent in there. So yeah, it's sort of, but it definitely felt like the Highlanders. The Hurricanes. The Highlanders. The Hurricanes had the better of that first half as well. Just didn't convert.
yeah, they might have had some time, but I think they'd had more entries. I.e., whereas I think the Highlanders would go in there and do a whole bunch of phases before messing it up, whereas the Canes would go in and mess it up straight away.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Absolutely. Hey, look, I was going to make a point. With the Hurricanes front row, we talked about, obviously it's like the confidence in their scrum. With an Alex Nemia, fantastic player around the field. I mean, like, geez, wow, just amazing what he can do. The speed that he's got as well. But obviously he's got some scrummaging deficiencies. Young fella, so plenty of time to work on it. But even though these days, like we look at an Ethan de Groot and they come in and they seem to be able to scrummage at the age of 22. But I mean, like, so for someone like Numia, it's definitely a big work on if he wants to get to higher honours, because I think his all-round game is something that will take him to next level. But if he can't scrummage, then he won't be able to, won't get that opportunity.
Yep, true. And look, we had Coles doing his normal off the ball grubby stuff, which got himself yellow carded, quite right too.
Well, I have to say on that yellow card, I actually think they won't do it, but that's close to a red card, because he's actually that's with force. That's on the head with the elbow. It's not just the light. He's actually putting pressure down on the head and then moving his elbow around as well. And so, what is the difference between that and contact to the head with force? That is contact to the head with force, and there's no mitigation around it either. So, yeah, I don't believe that they'll ever do that, but that's a red card opportunity there.
Yeah, and he just doesn't get it, does it? He clearly doesn't, with his comments of, "Oh, we just want to have some fun."
This is
rubbing your elbow in someone's face is not having fun.
No, not at all.
Standing on someone's neck because they've been holding you down is not having fun. Now, that captain's referral was inconclusive. But
he was lucky. He was lucky because it was inconclusive. The reality is, and I know, he knew exactly what he was doing. It's just the fact is that when you're looking at something like that, what you need is for his head to be down, his eyes basically to be looking at the target, to then be able to say, yes, he knew what I was doing. Unfortunately, that isn't conclusive video evidence there to say he knew what I was doing. But at the end of the day, I think every player who's played any level of rugby knows that he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah,
he might,
he looked down,
to be fair,
back up again, and then
he looked back up again, and then the foot went in. To be fair, or to give him that, he wasn't necessarily probably looking for the head neck area, but he was looking for the body. He knew he was going for the body. Yeah.
And look, should the other players have held him down? No, they shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't. But
that's not an excuse for what he did. But especially with his comments that he made to Aaron Smith afterwards, we heard through the ref's mic, it was pretty. Yeah, it's kind of clear that, oh, look, I've learnt my lesson. Grins. It's like, right, mate. But look, that led to a
his try.
A line-out maul and a try, him scoring a try, and with 2 minutes. So with 3 minutes to go, the Highlanders are leading this one by 2 scores, right? 7-17. They do that. They then there's a big long kick. Gilbert bottles the decision, picks it up, tries to run it out, and then kicks it dead
Shocker.
within like 6 meters. Now, should the Canes butchered a couple of opportunities there to score a try, but knock over 3, and suddenly they're back within 2 points within 3 minutes, and that's basically where the game swung to me, because up until that point, the Highlanders looking pretty comfortable. If they hadn't gone for that captain's referral, I think they didn't have a penalty. They had a penalty or a scrum or something, and I think they were going for the second yellow card. But yeah, they that captain's referral will be seen as being the swinging moment where this game swung from the Highlanders to the Hurricanes.
It's I mean, like, I'll call that a Tim Southey referral. It's the fact is that you're going to a player that basically is making a poor judgment call on what should be going for a captain's referral. Yeah. It was Brett Harmon that convinced the Ash Dixon to put it up for the captain's referral. That was a poor captain's referral. It was not something that you should use your captain's referral for.
Now,
and it backfired on him. It was like until then, the Blues had probably had the worst captain's referral. And to be fair to the Blues, their referral was really a Hail Mary call anyway. Situation, so you'd throw the cards on a Hail Mary situation. That was by far and easily the dumbest captain's referral for the season.
After the second half, look, the Canes come out. Finally, they get a kick through that Laumapi runs through on and touches down. I mean, look, they've tried it about 7 times by this point, and finally one comes off. That puts them in the lead. It looks like the Highlanders have come straight back, but we have one of those Hail Mary captain referrals for a knock on, and it comes off, which
it comes off because, I mean, hey, look, my view, the TMO's got it wrong. So it's come off because the TMO's made a blunder, and it's just like, that's probably when we talk about officiating and we have a go at the referee, that's the one that really gets my goat. What grinds my gears is when TMOs with replays can get a call wrong.
Yeah, so the way that I read it was he first gets it, he juggles it, it doesn't touch the ground.
Yep.
Then he drops it behind him.
Yep.
Because and as you put in our chat, it lands on the
point of the ball.
On the point of the ball, which propels it maybe slightly forward, but he's still reaching behind himself to pick it up anyway.
It doesn't. It's regardless of that. At the end of the day, the ball has been propelled forward because it's hit the point of the ball, not because the player has propelled it forward.
Yep.
So I mean, if a ball goes rolling around and it hits the point and then rolls forward, that means it's a knock on, and they have to call a scrum back. So that's a horrible call from the TMO.
I wouldn't go quite as far as you. I think it's a wrong call. I wouldn't call it a horrible call.
I call it a horrible call because they're supposed to be the experts. They're supposed to know the rules inside out. And the fact is that that's the reason why. It's just like, and also this is like, if the on-field decision's a try, so it's not conclusive that it's a knock on at the end of the day.
Yep. Now this that'll be Stephen Harris typing that into the New Zealand Sports Radio app there, not me. But looking at this one also, then we had Love's wonderful break and try, basically, and people are like, "Oh, it was very brave." What he did was he looked up, he saw Ash Dixon, who I think was way behind everyone else who in the defensive line. Saw that there was a big big disconnect between the end of the line out and the beginning of the defensive line, and just ran straight through a massive hole. Brave, nah, I don't know. But hey, it was he read the hole and went for it, which was good.
Brave, I don't know. I don't know. But at the end of the day, could it be a career-defining moment for Ruben Love? and the fact it gives him the confidence to say, I belong at this level, which takes me forward another sort of 10 minutes, I believe. Coaches, I can't understand coaches in this country apart from, say, one who's super successful. You've got a nothing game. You've got a kid that's learning the trade and playing at that level. He's just had his career-defining moment, and I belong at this level, and you hook him.
Yeah.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy, you know, especially when they got a franchise. Still not going to have a defined what you say, an international level first five next year. So
Yep.
if you've got the opportunity to give the kid time out there when he's just got his confidence up, what the hell are you doing hooking him? That blows your mind.
Yep. Look, he made a few errors, but hey, look, he's a young kid learning trade at the highest level. So yeah, it's fine.
And he's just made the best play of his career at that level to date.
Karifi had a good game. He made a stack load of tackles, didn't miss any. Look, he's not a ball carrying player for Lucy, but say got through his tackles, was a menace at the breakdown, and yeah, was on the shoulder to score the try. So I think, yeah, and this was one of Karifi's better games that I think I've seen him play.
You could probably go, close to saying his best game. The reason being is that he's obviously worked on his jackling, because all of his jackals tonight, and he made a fair few of them, they were on the ball. They weren't hands past the ball, drag the ball back. They were directly going onto the ball. So he's supporting his own body weight, all the things. He's obviously worked on that area of his game, and because tonight I could not fault him, and obviously the ref couldn't either because he didn't get penalised for his for what he did for his technique.
No, it was good. Jordan makes a comment there that Julian and Nay don't add value. Those taking a younger person's spot.
Yeah.
Now, for Julian Surveyor, I'll agree. For Nay Milner-Scudder, look, he's been out injured for 6 years. It feels like.
Yeah.
Basically, since the 2015 Rugby World Cup when he broke through. I don't think I've seen him pretty much play since. So having one day, judging him on his first game back, look at Dave McKenzie. Wasn't great last year. It's taken him a year to get back to his top level. I'd give Nay Milner-Scudder a few more games personally, but he did fall off a try later on. And it's great to see that he's got back on the pitch. I must admit, I never thought, I didn't think we were going to see it.
We'll never see him again. Look, in terms of, I sort of don't, I sort of almost agree with Jordan, but the difference, at least on the field, is that Nehi was involved in the game. He was actually, making good choices. His skill set showed out a couple of times with his handling ability. There was one time in the air where he was actually sort of lost the ball, but before he hit the ground, he was able to reach out and hold it. Second half, there was also a terrible pass that he was able to juggle and hold on to. So we did see some of his skills and the fact that he was at least trying to involved in the game. Julian Severe is just luggage. He's not the bus. He's the luggage on the bus. It's just like, what? Again, you're coming back to Ruben Love's situation with getting hooked after he's just done his best play at that level. Where's Hoosen on the bench, or not even in the match day squad, and you're putting a Severe on there? Well, that's just crazy. Again, in a nothing game as well. Why not? If you're not going to play Hoosen, pick one of the younger kids to go out there on the wing and out of the wider squad and put him on there.
Look, to be fair to Julian, I think he's trying. I think he really is trying.
Hang
on, but he's not. Yeah, look, he's not someone who's sort of cashed the check and is just. He's trying that, but he just doesn't have the pace.
He doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it. If you're really desperate to play Julian Severe, give him a shot in the centres. Where, in France, they put him in at the centres, and by what I've read, obviously after a bit of a struggle starting, I mean, you're playing a brand new position after coming in from the wing. He was actually making some good progress in the midfield, playing in the midfield and being effective in the midfield. But you're wasting time putting him out on the wing.
Yep. No, I agree. And one of the things that Canes do not lack is good midfielders. Which is a shame. Which is it's going to be very tough to find a space there. So we had that try by Karifi. Ash Dixon got the next try, but question of obstruction as 3 people broke off the maul, cleared out the space, and then he goes through.
So here's the situation with that. This is like, so you can break off the front of a maul. You're part of the maul. You can break off.
Mm-hmm.
The limpets from the defense that are stuck to the front of the maul. That's fine. You haven't taken them out. They've been joined to you. What they did was they had a couple of Hurricanes jerseys as limpets on the front of the maul. They've broken off. They ended up taking out players that weren't part of the maul, and therefore, and they would have been there and to be able to stop Ash, or possibly, not definitely, because it's only a couple of meters out, possibly stop Ash Dixon from scoring. But you can see players join the broken off part, and it's directly in front of it. And we've seen this. This isn't the first time we've seen it. We've actually seen it before.
Side, yeah. Anyway,
but you know what I mean? It's still players ahead of the ball. Still players ahead of the ball at the end of the day, and you're not allowed to have players ahead of the ball.
So another opportunity for a captain's challenge, but we didn't see it. So a bit of a surprise they didn't do the Hail Mary there.
Was it in the last 5 minutes? Because if it's not in the last 5 minutes, they'd used it up on the Dane Cole's try.
Because it was this is a the Hurricanes got their captain's referral correct. Remember?
Yeah. No. Highlanders used up their captain's referral when they said they'll play on.
This is a Highlanders try.
Hurricanes. Yeah. Sorry. Hurricanes. Sorry, my bad. Yep.
So the Hurricanes could have had a go.
Yeah, Hurricanes could have had a go. Yeah, and they would have got the third one right.
Then you've got the Highlanders on attack again. But look, the handling in the second half really disappointed me. I think there were quite a lot of knock-ons, quite a lot of passes nowhere near the players from both teams. The Highlanders, again, on attack, knock it on, not under any pressure either. It was just a midfield. This Roy Gall, boy, he's a big boy for a scrum half. He sees Ash Dixon has gone round the other side of the scrum and goes, well, there's no one there on my side, then I'm off. And stays on his feet well, gives it to that Mappy, who then gives it off to Uosi, the new flanker there, who goes over and scores in the corner. And boy, at that point, at 34-22, game's gone with 10 minutes to go.
Set of wheels on that kid. Because he ran away from backs. The backs were within touching distance, and he ran away from the backs to score that try. So
perhaps a little bit of a find there. Well, actually, and also a decent scrum half as well. Who knows? I mean, it's perhaps played a bit too much like a loose forward at times, taking the ball up when he didn't need to. Clearly, I think he at lower levels he's got away with it because of his size. But perhaps needs to be more. He needs to learn when to go, because and when to use his size rather than trying to do it all the time. But apart from that, I think Roy Gall had a decent game, or decent sort of last 20 or whatever he got. And then obviously we had the Royarsi one try at the end there where Neymar on the Scudder basically was got out strength really.
And that's where I can get on my hobby horse.
Little guy on big guy.
Yeah.
And why hasn't Royarsi been started for the past 2 years?
2 years, mate. 2 years of him sitting on the bench and just absolutely wasted. It's criminal. Absolutely. I mean, like last year, the Hurricanes had a shocking year. This year they have used them, but Royarsi could have been brought into that Hurricane setup, or the match day setup 2 years ago. We've known his capabilities for over 2 years now.
But unfortunately, it's good to see. I mean, even earlier this season, he wasn't starting, and Julius Surveyor was. And you got to say that he should be. He's hopefully. He's now they've realised
cemented his spot.
Starting every game.
Yeah,
he has one of those winger jerseys. Doesn't matter which one it is, but he has one every game.
Yeah.
Dear.
Actually, just on that, one thing I saw today, which I hadn't actually noticed when he's played before, is that they're really him and Geordie Barrett really trying to combine down the sort of like the blindside channels sort of thing. Using their size to get their arms free to feed each other, whether it's Geordie to Royarsi or Royarsi to Geordie. It was quite noticeable, particularly in that first half, how they were trying to feed each other, something that I hadn't actually picked up before, or whether they'd done it before.
Oh, which is good to see those combinations starting to develop. Look, some stats to this one. runs 112 by the Hurricanes, 115 by the Highlanders. So pretty even. The Hurricanes 678 run meters to 365 by the Highlanders. So nearly twice as many run meters, the same number of runs, which tells you how many of those clean breaks they made. Look, 12 clean breaks and just 2. They only finished 6 tries from them, though. And not all those tries came from clean breaks. I think it was a line out more one, wasn't it? So they really, they created a lot of chances. They could easily have scored another 20 odd points quite comfortably. This Canes team.
Yep.
So in some ways they got a bit lucky because they butchered so many opportunities. That's particularly in that first half.
Yep.
But they did get across the line for their second win of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on that, in terms of for the Highlanders, I was very surprised when they actually subbed Himino off fairly early in that second half. I felt at the end of the day, him and Frizzell are actually creating, if that's the right term, a good combination between those two. And I thought they were doing quite well. And for me, it was quite noticeable the forward momentum for the Highlanders basically disappeared after he left.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I put down for their second try was Landers forwards go to work, pick and goes through the holes, and Dixon scores. Josh Dixon, that one. They did it once, but they didn't seem to attack that area around the ruck after that. I don't know whether that was the Hurricanes D'd up better. That was when the yellow cards were in action. So Coles was off the pitch. So I don't know if that's a defensive organisation that Coles brings, maybe. But
I don't know. I mean, I was sort of I was surprised by that. I think the teams that have beaten the Hurricanes this year have worked out that they haven't got the biggest pack in the competition. So you want to sort of batter them up those close-in channels. And so I was surprised, to say the Highlanders had success with that in the first half early, but didn't really seem to stick at it too long.
Yeah, and then was it Retinal that came on for Hemipo? Very different style of player, and he's not going to do that. Sorry, not Hemo, not Hemino, not Hemipo. Hemipo's playing up in Japan. He's not going to give you that go forward. He's going to do other things, but not that. And you're right, with when you can do that that 1-2 punch with Frizzell and Hemino, side's going to find it difficult to tackle both of them. And one of them's going to get a break. So, it's some strange decisions in play wise by the Highlanders, and some strange decisions by the Highlanders around their substitutions.
Actually, we can say substitutions on both sides, eh?
The Highlanders just had a stack load of injuries, haven't they? Really, they've lost a lot of players for the season, so sometimes it's going to come back and bite them, I think.
But they've had it feels like they've had a settled lineup apart from the second row. They've even had a settled lineup in the last few weeks, even in the second row. I mean, not necessarily the preferred, so their second row isn't their preferred second row, but it's the second row that's been playing for a few weeks in and out recently.
They've been performing for it. Keep losing an extra player each week.
Yeah.
Or two. And that's I mean, again, Joshua Arnie missed out today. So you had Neyman Scudder at his first start for the season. You had Gilbert's first start of the season in the back three. So two players with first starts of the season there. I'm not sure about the rest of the team, but it just feels like I think that grind. That they've just lost one or two too many players now.
They get a week off and they're into Super Rugby Trans-Tasman.
Absolutely. So let's see what other
it doesn't stop.
Who they'll be looking to try and sign as injury cover, because we've seen Bateman and Liam Messon both come back from practical retirement.
Speaking of signings, I know we were reviewing the game, but it's just like we've got Himino as an international number 8, and we get another one next year. So we're going to have 2 international number 8s running around in Super Rugby competitions in the South Pacific.
Going to be interesting. Yeah, this is what are the All Blacks number 8 stocks looking like? We'll see. Lastly, on this game, then Jordan Clark goes, Marshy, technically commentary about the Hurricanes referral had me laughing. Might have had you laughing, had me banging my head against the wall. Jeez, sorry, but yeah, Marshy's just.
To be fair, he is a blonde.
Well, yes. Look, on the whole, he hasn't been too bad recently, but he just has. He seems to have one or two
Brain
issues
farts.
game like that where he just totally loses it. That one, and
Just
also,
wrong.
well, just wrong. Yeah. So he
Just
was wrong
wrong.
there, and he was also wrong with, oh yeah, I'm not sure why Cole should go off at having an elbow in someone's head. Pardon? What planet are you guys on?
It's just like, look, I mean, like we've all seen the little elbow on the head, it's like a rub just as you're getting up or whatever, or the face down on the head as you're getting up. Again, I mean, I think it was Jordan that referred to it. We just want to get rid of. We like a good hard game, but just want to get
Yep.
rid of that rubbish niggle out of the game. To be honest, I really don't like it. But this wasn't the little light elbow on the head. This was actually
No.
downward pressure and rubbing it hard on his head. That was not a little bit of, just a rough up the hair type scenario anywhere near it.
And what annoys me the most actually is that Dane Coles is a damn good footballer, right? He doesn't need to be doing all this stuff. He is a
Maybe
very good rugby player.
maybe you just have to do that as part of being an All Blacks number hooker.
There might be an element of that, yes.
Yeah. Cody Taylor's been lifting his game in that area as well.
Oh dear. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a cracker look. Stack load of games tomorrow. We've got the first ever women's Super Rugby game with the Blues playing the Chiefs, and we'll be live straight after the final whistle. We'll give you post-match reaction to that one. Then we've got the men's game, and then we've got the elimination final or the preliminary final or whatever it's called over in Australia as the Brumbies take on the Western Force as well. So a cracking day of rugby tomorrow, and also I'll be at the Waihi big team who are playing at 12:30. So if you want to pop down to the rugby ground at Waihi and say hi, then please do. I'll be at doing some club footy as well. So thanks very much, Ashwin, and thank you for joining us.